Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well. And it's time to talk about the one, the only, the humming master himself, Kid Cudi. Now, this past week, Kid Cudi was embroiled in one of the biggest ongoing stories in the world of hip-hop today, and that is the Sean Diddy Combs trial. Just in case you guys have been living under a rock, Diddy currently stands charged and accused of being involved in multiple sex trafficking charges, among other things, and it's been really interesting over the course of this trial and Diddy's arrest to sort of watch public opinion evolve and shift on the man. At first, when a lot of these accusations and rumors of legal charges were floating around, I think there was a lot of skepticism as to whether or not they were real and valid. Was this just the government conspiring against a rich, successful hip-hop mogul merely because he is a rich, successful hip-hop mogul? But then the video of him violently beating his former girlfriend Cassie on camera was leaked to the public. We also had those very damning and filed accusations made by a former producer of his. Then more stories began to come out about the freak-off parties that he would regularly hold. And some of these accusations around these parties and sexual escapades are said to involve minors as well. However, that has not stopped some individuals in entertainment, in music, in hip-hop from coming to Diddy's defense. And that has also not stopped many who have connections to Diddy, be it direct or indirect, from being very quiet, very quiet on this issue. In fact, in the wake of these charges, there have actually been a lot of people who were like, yeah, I was at some of those parties. I was there. However, nothing too crazy was going on. I didn't see any of the stuff that he's getting arrested for. I'm sure on some level, because these parties were so well attended by many, not every single person there was involved in maybe the craziness and the most illegal things that occurred there. But simultaneously, there were enough people there to where you should see some more people speaking up, attesting to certain things, just kind of talking about what they witnessed. But no, instead, we're seeing a lot of silence. The silence is, in fact, deafening, as if nobody in the music industry even knew who this guy was prior to him getting arrested. Which brings us to Kid Cudi, because this past week, he actually went to the Diddy trial and testified. Now, if you've been following my coverage on this issue, you know this is not the first time Kid Cudi has been brought up in the scope of this trial and this story, because back when Diddy's former girlfriend Cassie filed accusations against him, among all of the experiences she retold in these allegations was one involving Kid Cudi, with Diddy allegedly lighting his car on fire due to Cudi being involved with Cassie and Diddy essentially having some issues with that. And as the allegations go, Diddy firebombed Cudi's Porsche to sort of send a message. Cudi also testified to the possibility of Diddy having something to do with a break-in in his house. Now, I think it's one thing to take the stand in a trial to attest to a crime that maybe you were witness to, but Cudi is actually getting up here and saying this and risking some serious danger to his own life, not only because of Diddy's connections in the world of entertainment, but presumably on some level, given what he is accused of being involved with, maybe some kind of criminal underbelly contingent of individuals, who knows. But also on top of that, in reaction to this trial, you have many sort of trying to adhere to some kind of street code where taking the stand and bolstering any of the claims against Diddy right now in this trial is snitching. In the wake of Cudi testifying here, we have seen not only Kanye West taking to social media to complain about Cudi testifying against Diddy, but we've also had Young Thug taking to Twitter for one moment to call Cudi a snitch, which all right, I get that this is not necessarily the sort of thing for me, me to comment on, but I get where this mentality would originate from in a world of racist and abusive and corrupt cops and police departments. Yeah, in a context where you as an average person among other average people in your community are dealing with that reality, that makes sense. There's a certain level of validity to that position to an extent, but like generally being anti-snitching is not some kind of mindset Cudi has ever claimed to adhere to or represent in his music. Personally, Cudi was subpoenaed to go to this trial and talk about all of this. I mean, while I suppose he could have opted to get up there on the stand and say absolutely nothing or deny, I don't know, ever having known the guy in any fashion, the whole thing about the Porsche in Cassie's filed allegations against Diddy are already there, are already out. On top of it, we're talking about allegations of a multi-millionaire. And just to reiterate, a lot of these allegations involve minors. Minors. What kind of demented priorities are we working with when we're defending this to adhere blindly to this one-size-fits-all rule and solution to something that honestly just does not apply? Just to sort of bolster my point here, here's a bar from the late, great Ka. I think that kind of makes sense within this context. Certainly more sense than not snitching. But yeah, it's just really sad and unfortunate and pitiful to see a lot of people who are in the wake of this trial making it clear that they are not their own people. They're not their own men. They're not individuals. They don't think for themselves. Instead, they're circling the wagons around daddy. And for what? So he can get off scot-free and abuse more people? It's gross, it's disgusting, it's inexcusable, and just wanted to say here loudly and clearly that personally I think this past week Cudi did a really big and brave thing. What Cudi did at that trial was certainly more badass than anything a trafficker will do, and anybody who calls into question why he would even think to do such a thing is lame. And I am going to leave it there. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of all of this. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Kid Cudi, forever.